Hi, I'm Erica Farber, President and CEO of the Radio Advertising Bureau, and welcome to RAB at Work, the Q Report, coming to you from RAB's New York office. Now, this report is taking a closer look at how we at the RAB and how some of the radio industry's partners are positioning radio to current and potential advertising and marketing clients today. You'll hear from colleagues who are making the case for the audio medium day in and day out at the national and local level, how they position radio in today's crowded advertising space, debunking misperceptions, and how together we can drive more revenue and growth into our sector.
Today, it has never been, and I can say this with 100% certainty, that there has never been a better time to talk about radio inside an advertiser or an agency. And that's because audio is hot.
It is the most incredible, dynamic, hot subject right now. If you have a campaign without audio, that's not a campaign, and it won't do the work that you need it to do.
It's results, it has tremendous reach, and it's local. And the ability to capitalize on the local market to activate its listeners is something that no other medium can do. No one has a relationship with their radio station like our listeners do.
My elevator pitch would be, depending on how many floors I'm going, I think I'd start with the fact that we're the #1 reach medium. More people tune into radio every week than watch TV, smartphones, tablets, etc. Then I'd go right to the resilience and the fact that while more audio is being consumed than ever before, and you hear people talking about podcasting and streaming, it hasn't impacted the amount of people using radio. And the fact that it's free and it's everywhere and the content is local keeps listeners engaged.
I think it's a real exciting time. We've seen a lot of change even in the past 2 years in radio, and it seems to be getting better. The demand is crazy. We have so many new advertisers coming into the space. There's always churn. Some come in, some come out, but we're seeing a lot more advertisers coming in on the spot side, on the network side, and that's great. And they're not all, the big P&Gs. Some of it is the smaller advertisers that are making their way into radio for the first time. That's exciting to me.
And maybe radio isn't at the very forefront of what they're calling hot, but once you have the dialogue about radio's role within the audio landscape and how it is the #1 mass reach medium, and it is the one that's sort of informing and influencing every other piece of technology that is making audio hot, it provides you the opportunity to have a really interesting conversation. The culture as it relates to audio inside agencies is better than it ever has been.
Businesses are fighting to compete right now. They are fighting to make a difference. And brands are being eaten up by other brands. There's new emerging brands. You have to stand out. If you're gonna stand out, you need to look at the research and study the difference that audio can make. Audio can make or break a brand.
Just this past week in New York here, WPLJ signed off. Heartwarming to hear the calls that came in about what that radio station meant to them as in their commute, providing information, whatever it may be. You had a real relationship with that. Very few advertising vehicles can create that kind of relationship with its audience. And radio's effectiveness is its ability to capitalize on that for an advertiser.
We have validated studies that show that it has had an impact on lifting brand awareness, substantially contributing to reach. Also, ringing the cash register. So we've seen it with some great studies that have been done on ROI, and what a dollar spent in radio can do in different categories. And it also is ubiquitous. I think that, the rumors of our demise have been very premature.
The misperception that I'm hearing about radio, audio, is results, that we can't deliver results or we're not able to put in a study, a research study that can really show them what they got out of their investment. The truth is you can.
I think that a lot of advertisers today are saying that they want to be able to know that their campaign's working. What kind of measurement do you have? Before it was more about targeting, was really buzzy, but right now it's more about the business outcomes and getting results.
Radio makes a significant difference in a campaign. There are a number of research studies. The Radio Advertising Bureau has several of them. When you take a multimedia vehicle approach, so if you take a digital with perhaps a television overlay and you put in an audio asset, you are getting a far greater gain. And so that misperception, the way that people think that it cannot be brought forward, is completely inaccurate.
The biggest misperception is that radio is dead, that no one listens to radio anymore, and that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. I mean, I think the most recent metrics show that almost 93% of all Americans tune into radio each week. And then they say that the younger kids, no one's listening to radio. And one of the strongest demos within that is the 18 to 34-year-olds. They listen almost 91+% during the course of a week. There are thousands of radio stations that are providing a useful service to their communities, and people rely on them day in and day out. So it's just not true that radio is dead. I mean, it started in 1920 with the first elections, and they said TV was going to kill it. They didn't. Cable was going to kill it, and the internet was going to kill it. No, it's far from the fact.
You know, it's funny, Advertising Perceptions has, done their studies, and I think agencies and brands, if I recall the data correctly, came back and said they thought radio had a reach of 57%, whereas we know radio has a reach of 92 to 93%. So, we have to constantly work to educate our customers, agencies, advertisers, about the reality of the landscape out there. It's an ongoing effort to make sure that people understand really what the landscape is like, and that's a big part of our job.
I think the biggest obstacle that we face is that radio has not been getting its fair share of revenue, and I think that that's the thing that we're out in force trying to change.
I actually think the biggest misperception today, given today's environment, is radio's role across all of the other technological shiny new toys. So, people used to talk about digital as being the new shiny object. Today it's voice, it's podcasting, and other platforms that leverage audio. Radio built pretty much every one of those platforms. Radio has a role in every single one of those platforms, and I think that is the most significant misperception.
Also, how do I control the environment I'm in? Again, in network radio, we're in a space that is Fortune 500, blue chip, mostly public companies. So they have to have a very positive perception of their companies in the marketplace and to their customers that they rely on, day in and day out. So that is extremely important to them. And one of digital's problems over the last few years that has become very obvious is that they can't control the environment. They can't control the content for where these national brands are running.
The two best appointments that I got came from just picking up the phone. You spend all this time looking at LinkedIn, trying to find your common ground, writing a great introductory email. You'd be amazed how many people just actually pick up their phone today. So I say pick up the phone and call, follow up with an email, but definitely do your homework first to get the big appointments.
It's really important to put yourself second and put the person that you're trying to set up the meeting with first, and understand what it is that they're going to want to hear, or that they need to hear, that they're open to hear, and use that as your entree to request a meeting. Everybody is really interested in it. They want to understand how to use it better. They want to see what other advertisers are doing with the medium. They want to talk about radio across all of its platforms, so it's not just over the air, it's not just the personalities. It's everything related to voice, it's everything related to podcasts, it's everything related to streaming. Audio is hot and radio is hotter. Radio works, it delivers for the consumers, it delivers for the advertisers, you're almost guaranteed to see results. It makes everything work harder. It works, radio works.
Well, we know you've just heard a lot of information, and while there's a lot to unpack, whether it be from a network, national, or local perspective, we heard some common themes. Radio has many great assets. We need to be aggressive in our pursuits of debunking the misperceptions of radio. Audio is hot, and radio matters because it works. Now go ahead and take what you heard today and think about how it can apply to your sales efforts. To get more hands-on pro radio information that you too can share with your clients, check out the full library of misperception one-sheets available to you under the Radio Works tab on RAB.com. Your RAB is on top of it, and should you have any questions, need further explanation, or just need some more help with sales objections or misperceptions, just ask RAB.